Hey guys, welcome back to the World Championship Series Challenger Group D. No, G, that's the one. I always get that wrong. I always get that wrong. My name's Kyle Laris alongside Targa, and actually we can take a look at the brackets here before we jump into our next series. As you can see, we already have ThorZaiN and MaNa making their way up to the top there. And they'll be playing off against one another in just a second, and then Firekick and Bishu falling down to the lower bracket. Targa? How are the brackets looking? How are you thinking?
As expected for most people.
Yeah.
Not as expected for me. I actually thought that the underdogs today could do some damage. They didn't, sadly. But this is, of course, the match that everyone wants to watch. These are two great players, two of the highest earners. They have the best achievements, I would believe. Like they're both top 3.
Yeah.
Top 5 at least. In terms of achievements. What do you think?
Very good achievements by both of these guys. You're right. Both of them have won quite a few international tournaments themselves. But we can actually jump into the game now, guys, as we do have Mr. ThorZaiN and MaNa, both players who, well, ThorZaiN used to be on Mouse, but now is on EG. And we do have him spawning up to the top right, top left even, as our blue Terran. He goes by the name of EG ThorZaiN. And spawning down to the bottom right as our red Protoss. He goes by the name of Mouse MaNa. So, yeah.
Do you think they know when you're gonna introduce the players so you see the screen? Because they both typed HF at the exact same time. Like usually you just write GLHF at the beginning or whatever, but both of them waited for like a minute into the game.
I don't know. I mean, it's just that caster thing, man. That's what we do. It's kind of scary how sometimes these things can work out. Normally it's cast a curse, and normally we'll say something, and instantly the opposite will happen, which isn't so great. But
yeah.
Oh well. All right, we have ThorZaiN opening up with gas, so could quite easily dart in with Reaper if he wanted to. Looking like that at the moment.
And he also scouted for proxy gates, I mean.
Yeah, he did, which actually is quite wise of him. I wouldn't put it past MaNa to not do that against ThorZaiN. MaNa is one of the biggest trolls I've ever met in StarCraft. And so is ThorZaiN, actually, now that I think about it as well.
Yeah.
There's a lot of trolls in StarCraft.
I think it's just because we're all young, immature.
Is that how it works?
Yeah, but I think that most programmers are really nice, at least, when you meet them.
Yeah, definitely. That's one of the things that kind of, when I first got into casting, really surprised me about one player, and it was Idra. Online, everyone's like, oh god, he's so BM, he's so BM. But you meet him in real life, he's one of the nicest people on Earth.
Yeah. I haven't had the honor of meeting him. But
okay.
I met him a few times online, though.
Yeah. So you've faced the BM Idra.
Yeah, I faced him.
All right, so we have the Reaper now on the field, good to go here for ThorZaiN. Meanwhile, expansion galore for either player. So I'm actually surprised that MaNa hasn't gone for a Blink play on this map.
I'm surprised as well, but still, it might happen. Something interesting to note, he went for a pylon gateway and then a nexus. So his gases are pretty late, which means that all his tech is late as well.
Yeah, that could be a little bit of a hindrance, especially when he's having to deal with a Reaper or two. But he will get that store count pretty quickly as well, eventually. And try and poke away at some probes. That helps.
One probe. Still,
yeah.
Like the Reaper gets away. He has 2 kills, so 2 probes.
Yeah, he got the scouting one as well. That wasn't too bad. And the factory is now on the way for ThorZaiN as well. Can switcheroo that up with the reactor if he wants to. Yeah. He has a lot of options, though, really, in the end.
Yeah, Hellbats, Widow Mines, just Marine drops. You never know. Also, I want to note something else that's really cool that ThorZaiN does. Basically, the Mule, when it's about to die, he always goes back and steals a few minerals before he expires. ThorZaiN always, especially in the early game, he moves it away after the last time it has returned the minerals. And it's like these small, subtle things that I really like about his play.
You mean so it doesn't get wasted?
Yeah, so there's no minerals wasted. It's efficiency.
I'm tempted to watch that now and say Caster's Curse on you if it doesn't happen, but I'm not going to. So we have the Robo on the way now, as well as the Armory, so it is indeed going to be Hellbats here from ThorZaiN, which is, I mean, it's pretty much a given. A lot of Terrans are liking those Hellbats. And we'll see how well MaNa can actually react to it with this little poking pressure that he's going to put on.
Oh, now ThorZaiN actually messed it up.
Did he?
Yeah.
Oh, I wasn't watching. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not sorry, because now that you shouldn't have said anything, man. What are you doing?
I apologize.
All right, so the old switcheroo once again. Those Hellbats are going to be on the way, but I mean, the Mothership core comes in, and this is actually a really great scout. The distraction at the front, and then having a look around, seeing the armory, means that he knows exactly what's going on from this point.
Yeah, he might even get a kill, SV kill. No, he moves it back, which is the smart thing to do. So MaNa's just preparing for this perfectly. He's making an observer because he saw there was a Widow Mine.
Yep.
And he's also adding extra gates and a forge. So I can imagine that he's going to build a cannon at every base, just so it's harder for the medevac to boost in.
Yeah.
And then he's going to place a few stalkers at every base. He should be able to deal with this pretty easily, but you never know. Like the Hellbots are already arriving, and he's going to spot it. Yeah. But he didn't notice. He didn't notice. Okay, now he noticed it. Because he was reacting very, very slowly. Let's see how much damage the Hellbats can do.
Yeah, he's going to try and kill off a Zealot here, as well as those Stalkers chasing him down. They're actually focusing down the medevac. He doesn't have boost just yet, but will eventually get away.
That was close.
Yeah, that was very, very close indeed. But at the same time, a few Marines going to poke down to the middle. They have been seen with an Observer, but the third command center hasn't been seen yet for MaNa, so he's still going to have to be very, very wary of the aggression that could come along.
Yeah. ThorZaiN is starting an engineering bay. He's starting 2 actually, so he's going to go on full macro with his third command center as well. Now he's just going to try to control the game, kind of, with the Hellbats. MaNa, if he decides to move out, then he's going to lose his mineral line. No matter what, he needs a lot of cannons to stop it. And he's actually proving me wrong. I thought that you would have to have cannons to stop this, but he's just placed some stalkers around the map. Got an observer, and the Hellbats haven't really done too much at all.
You're right. I mean, it's been a pretty cool defense, despite not really doing a whole lot. He's just positioned himself well. He's just made sure he's very stable and really, really spread himself out very nicely. It's when you go up to that third base that it can technically become a little bit of a problem in terms of the drops, just not only from Hellbats, but other kind of terms, other drops. But ThorZaiN's now moving out once again, and we are going to see MaNa expand here.
Now there's a lot more Hellbats.
Wow, yeah.
And MaNa at the same time, I think he wanted to take a third base.
Yeah.
But let's see how much damage they can do. Now, his main base is okay. It's enough.
Ah, he forced out the photon overcharge. That's quite nice. But there's still another photon overcharge on that mothership core. So if he sent it down to the natural, he could easily defend there once again. So MaNa's holding himself very, very sturdy for now.
Yeah. He's even getting Colossus out, more Zealots, getting the Twilight Council so he can start his +2 upgrades.
And the thing is that ThorZaiN moving around here, he's trying to spot a third base. He hasn't seen it just yet. He didn't see it down to the third. But there you go. Sees it exactly. Because he has to assume that his opponent spotted his third command center with an observer eventually. Just forced the cancellation. Good moves there.
And now I think he feels a lot more safer. ThorZaiN, that is. Like he sees the third base being placed. Now he knows that MaNa is probably not going to try to do anything out of the ordinary. And still, the Hellbats are still there. So there's always the threat of the Hellbats. I mean, MaNa could go full YOLO mode and go for it. Because ThorZaiN's army at home is not that big. And MaNa knows it.
You're right. I mean, he drops a scan. He sees pretty much exactly what's at the front of his opponent's base. And that's going to cause him a little bit of problems. Army supply right now, 67 to 52. And if he actually picked up those Hellbats and dropped them across his opponent's composition as well as the frontal engagement,
I mean, there's quite a bit of Zealots. I'm not sure if MaNa has the correct army composition to deal with this.
He's going to get kited all day long if he's not careful.
Yeah. But now ThorZaiN knew that MaNa saw it coming, so I'm not too sure if he wants to do this or not.
Again, those Hellbats in those medevacs, very, very scary. If he drops those in the right locations,
but now there's 2 Colossus.
Yeah, so kind of difficult to engage into that in the end. So MaNa bought the time necessary, and he's getting a few more gateways himself, getting that third Colossus out. The interesting thing is, though, is despite the Viking production already on the way, Ghost Academy already finished as well. So ThorZaiN's, it feels as if he's just like one step ahead right now of MaNa each given point.
Yeah, to be honest, I think he's even more than a step ahead at the moment.
Yeah.
I think that MaNa, she spent so much resources and dealing with the Hellbats, but nothing ever happened. So it wasn't like an efficient use of his resources. Like he could have gotten better tech, more probe sat. He couldn't even gotten the third base. I mean, but the other thing is that if he had played it more greedily, then the Hellbats might have done some damage.
Yeah.
But this is like ThorZaiN is like terrorizing MaNa with the Hellbats. It's like USA and the Soviet Union, the Cold War. Like nothing ever happens, but there's the threat of something happening.
Yeah, exactly.
And if something happens, well, a lot of stuff is gonna die.
Yeah, everything's going to kick off from there. Well, to be fair, though, to MaNa, his army is becoming really, really potent. He's getting High Templars, he's getting Storm, he's already got the Colossi out with charge. 2-2's just finished up, so he could go into 3-3. So he has all the tools at his disposal, but if ThorZaiN hits when he maxes out and his army is 120 supply to an army that's 75, Storms need to be so perfect to kill off his army.
Yeah, but there's already Ghosts out. There's already enough Vikings, I think, to deal with the Colossus. And I think this is looking very good for ThorZaiN. He's going to try to hit the 2-2 timing. MaNa, of course, is already 2-2. He's getting the 3-3 upgrades. He's also getting Storm, getting him some more Salads, which is not the smartest thing to do against all these Hellbats.
Ooh, if he takes that engagement right now, there's a few of the Stalkers are out in position. MaNa's going to try and delay for just a little bit, pulls himself back there so that the Stalkers can rendezvous. He does throw down the Storm, clips one or two of those Vikings, but the Mothership Core goes down, so... right now, ThorZaiN's army still 131 supply to 97. If ThorZaiN realizes, he drops the scan, if he separates himself, he could do a lot of damage.
And there's only one Storm left.
Well,
now there's none.
Now there's no Storms. Sorry to call that target, but there you go. We now have Mr. All those Hellbats trying to tank all the damage from those Zealots, and they do a great job, along with that Bio, doing the damage from behind here. There's really not a lot left for MaNa. So 176 applied to 100. MaNa gets ripped apart at the front, and that leaves his third base completely exposed.
Yeah. MaNa is desperately trying to warp in some High Templars, but it's going to take them a long time to get the energy to throw some Storms. And at the same time, ThorZaiN is constantly rallying in units.
There you go. GG. Just the perfect balance of 3-base economy to the tech. Getting those ghosts out at that particular time. MaNa's like, ha, you've seen my Colossi, it's time to go High Templars. But the Ghost Academy was already down.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah, and another thing that I already mentioned, ThorZaiN did no damage at all the whole game. He was just terrorizing him with the Hellbat drops, like the potential Hellbat drops. 3 workers killed or something, and a third Nexus being denied. That's about it. I have no idea how MaNa got so far behind and ThorZaiN got so far ahead. I know that you have to like spend your minerals a bit differently when there's this threat called Hellbats.
Yeah,
like, you don't want to be on the back foot when dealing with them. But ThorZaiN played this out perfectly.
Yeah, he really did. It's to your point of you have to spend your minerals differently when there's the threat of Hellbats. It's that thing where if you're a Protoss on 2 base, you have to, say, cut probe production and stuff like that so you can actually defend against any kind of possibility from a Terran. But then from that point on, ThorZaiN was saying, well, I've got 3 command centers, I'm just going to produce a huge amount of SCVs, transfer them over to my third really quickly, get that greatly saturated. And then his economy just ran him over in the end.
Yeah.
Very nice. All right, so game number 2 is going to be on Whirlwind here. Mr. ThorZaiN, if he plays that well in game number 2, we could be seeing a very quick 2-0 here. And I'm pretty sure that that map was actually MaNa's pick. So this is ThorZaiN's pick. Ouch.
Oh, yeah. It's going to be hard for MaNa. I think he definitely needs to change his playstyle. There's... I wouldn't say it's impossible to go macro against this, but he didn't seem to be dealing with this correctly. So hopefully he changes his playstyle and tries to go for macro and he knows how to deal with it, or he just needs to change everything with his game plan and go for an all-in or try to trick ThorZaiN somehow.
Yeah. We'll see if that can work out. I've actually seen quite a lot of Proxy Oracle play on this map. It's somewhere that you can make it work. But again, MaNa has to try and pull something out of the bag a little bit special here, unless he just gets run over by ThorZaiN again. Because that first game didn't really look fair in favor of MaNa there.
No, it looked like it was a Grandmaster against a Platinum player, to be honest.
Poor MaNa. Oh dear, well, I'm sure you can take it. All right, game number 2 on the way now here in just a second between ThorZaiN and MaNa. The winner of this series will advance on to Premier League once again. Both players were there this season. Who shall make it back as quickly as they can do? We shall see as we now jump in to game number 2 between Mr. ThorZaiN and MaNa. EG versus Mouse. As we have spawned down to the bottom left as our Red Terran. He goes by the name of EG ThorZaiN. And spawning up to the top left as our blue, teal, turquoise Protoss. I'm pretty sure he was supposed to pick blue, but and he goes by the name of Mouse MaNa.
Again, late, have fun.
Yeah.
Another thing that I want to talk about regarding ThorZaiN's history with games. It's something that some of you might know, that he was a very good Warcraft 3 player, especially at the end.
Yeah.
The problem was that there wasn't really a big foreigner scene. If I recall correctly, he went to China to participate in a tournament. He didn't do that well, but he played Warcraft the exact same way he's playing StarCraft right now. In this game 1, he hit the 2-2 timing. Everything went just as ThorZaiN probably prepared and wanted it to do. That was how he played Warcraft 3. He always tried to hit late game timings with like 2-2 upgrades or whatever. Like he hit 80 food, then he went, then he saved up a bit, you know, because there
was
tax,
right?
Yeah, there were taxes in Warcraft. So he like stayed there a bit, then he went over and tried to hit a really good timing. And I still see this these strategies, and kinda I see them in ThorZaiN's play. Like it's very similar to how he plays Terran.
That's pretty darn interesting. Because for me, someone who didn't follow Warcraft 3 as avidly as I now wish I did, because esports is awesome, didn't get to see that. So it's nice to see how players actually transition on from game to game. But interestingly enough here, MaNa scouted cross positions first off.
Yeah.
And it's not cross positions enforced, and I'm pretty sure MaNa knows that as well. So his build that he does from this point on, in terms of going for a Nexus, might be tailored to having his opponent spawn in a closer proximity to him. We'll see what he wants to do.
Yeah, he also saw where ThorZaiN's SUV came from, so now he knows where ThorZaiN is. ThorZaiN is also going for a greedy build. He went for 1 Rax, and then for CC. No gases yet. MaNa, getting his gas, getting his second gas, chroning out a Zealot. I'm not sure why he would do that. Maybe to deny the SUV.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I'll try somehow. He can get a good 2 swipes on it if he's careful about his control, and then from that point on, maybe he'll have a Stalker out behind that to shoot at it. But
and ThorZaiN is going to play way different this game. Already added the second Rax. His gases are also a lot later, and he's gonna be making a lot of Marines, I think. Probably taking a 3rd Rax soon as well.
I would like to see that if he does this, actually he's just not scouting out his opponent at all. He's checking to see if there's proxies first with this SCV. Or he might go for a really quick 3rd command center, but that'd be weird. But the thing is that if he pokes with these 2 barracks early with a lot of Marines, he can force out a Photon Overcharge and then poke in later on when his opponent's low on units. Yeah. So that is a scary thing that Protoss have to deal with on a map like this.
Yeah, and he's really looking like he's looking hard, trying to. Yeah, I mean he wants to find a Stargate. He's not going to find one.
And this was in part due to MaNa scouting as well. He knows that. Well, from where the probe came from and from where it went eventually, that his opponent probably didn't scout as early as going to top right to middle to then bottom. So he tries to scout out all the proxy potentials because of what we said before about the fact that his build might be tailored to a close proximity position thanks to the fact that he was scouting cross positions. So, although reading into that might be a bit difficult.
Perhaps. ThorZaiN is actually making a Reaper now, just to scout. The Mothership Core killed 1 CV, I think, or maybe a Mule. Not doing too much. MaNa is making a Stargate now. So it might still be oracles,
Yeah.
even though they're not proxied.
Could definitely be. That's the thing that I like about ThorZaiN, though, as of late. He is one of the only Terran players right now that are using this delayed Reaper tactic to try and jump on in. It's not the most amazing map for it, and he could quite easily be shut down. But if it gets in, that's really, really annoying for him. Force field.
Oh, and he missed it. Oh, you see it? It's going to see the Stargate, I think.
It could do. He's going to try and chase it with probes.
Is he going to see it? Is he going to see it? This is the important thing. Yeah, he saw it.
And he saw the Oracle building as well.
Yeah.
Fantastic, fantastic scout there by ThorZaiN. But MaNa could have denied that a little bit easier if he'd have thrown down the force field a little quicker and had the Reaper bump into it just a little bit. Could have gone better.
Yeah. One thing that he didn't see was the 2 forges.
That's true.
And I'm not sure how much this might change the game, but if this was me and I saw 2 forges, I would either just go for it and try to do some damage, or play super, super greedy, because now ThorZaiN knows that the Oracle is coming, so it shouldn't be able to do any damage at all. He's already placing Marines, his stim is soon done, and now he's going to see the Oracle. He might kill one SCV.
Yeah, he's going to try and hunt that one down that was transferring, but no, no, no. And, ooh, get caught between a rock and a hard place, but does get out in the end. There's a probe down to the bottom right that is making me a little bit shifty. I think maybe if he's going to throw down anything there, if it's not just a pylon, could be the Twilight Council as well as something else. But
yeah. MaNa is also making more gateways, which I guess is normal at this point. Also another robo. So I think he's looking to take a 3rd base. But ThorZaiN is not making a 3rd command center. So I'm thinking this should be some kind of 2-base pressure.
How many barracks are we on? We're on 3 right now. If we were on 5, then that would certainly be a very, very good option. And we'll see if he wants to actually go for that here. He has a lot more orders actually mixed in. But that pylon does go down to the bottom right here. MaNa, well, his Twilight Council is elsewhere. So I guess it's just going to be warping potential.
Yeah, I don't see any other use for this pylon.
Oop, a little bit of lag. More gateways. Okay, we're up to 6 gateways right now across these 2 bases. Not too bad for the macro. And he's getting Twilight Council as well as Robo. So very, very diverse tech here thus far from MaNa.
Yeah, and he's still also making probes. ThorZaiN has stopped SCV production at the moment, but he's making a 3rd command center. So I'm not sure if we should take too much away from that. MaNa sees ThorZaiN moving out with his observer, and this can do a lot of damage if MaNa miss micros. And now we have some lag.
Yep, we'll have to leave, hopefully. But there was one Zealot warped in down to the south by MaNa just to try and apply a little bit of pressure whilst his opponent's moving out. Maybe try and buy him some time, but one Zealot's not going to do a whole lot here, so...
I agree.
Yes. I had 3-2. All right, so I assume Mr. Indy will leave in just a bit. Indy is actually a pretty impressive Polish player, isn't he? He does casting on the side, but... Yeah,
he's Protoss, I think,
yes,
right? Yeah,
I think so.
And I've played against him quite a bit.
Yeah?
I would say he's like he's a player that can make a top 16 GM easily if he just plays a lot. But I think lately I haven't played against him at least, so I'm not too sure how active he is. Maybe he's casting more.
Maybe. All right, so why can't I click kick?
Only the players and the referee can do it.
Right, okay. Yeah. I'm a lowly spectator. All right.
Yep, we're not good enough.
Apparently. All right, okay, so the probe, as well as everything that's already seen this. Whoa, Revelation goes down on this army, so he's going to know exactly where his opponent's army's positioning is at any given point in time. Force fields need to be absolutely pivotal, and they will for now, but that's still a lot of damage that could be done here. Photon Overcharge will need to go down.
But there's a Colossus about to be done.
Yeah, that needs to just buy himself a little bit more time during all of this. And now will push on once again. There's no more force fields. That's a lot of damage that's being done by this bio. He tries to split off some of those bio units to try and kill off the Colossus, but doesn't actually even focus it down in the end. And the bio ends up dying. Good control by MaNa.
Yeah, and he lifts up 4 Marauders, flies away. He was also rallying units across the map, but now that I think that this was supposed to do a lot more damage than it did.
Yeah.
like ThorZaiN will be behind in almost everything, like tech, upgrades. MaNa is 1-1 at the moment. 2-2 is about to be done. ThorZaiN is 1-0, just one attack. His armor is soon finished though, but this is not the position that you want to be in.
No, this could certainly be clawed back here quite nicely by MaNa in terms of going into a third game. As for now, still pylons down to the bottom right here for MaNa, just keeping an eye on what's going on. That Zealot hasn't really done too much, but it did see the third light command center land, so... And whoa, great observer placement. And as well as the revelation hitting all of these medevacs. So MaNa's making great use of this observer despite, Oracle, despite not having done much damage with it.
Yeah, at the same time there was a drop in MaNa's second base. Yeah. It killed a few probes, and now it might be killed. Yeah. Oh, ThorZaiN reacted too late. Oh, and a loose Colossus.
Where is he going? Poor observer rally point. Yeah. Means that you will die. Poor little guy. He tries to take a Marine with him, but he doesn't get it.
Things like this is what can, things like that can change the game again.
Yeah.
I mean, all that MaNa needs to do right now is get up his tech, sit behind, make probes and units. He doesn't need to attack, I think.
And across these three bases, I mean, unit counting station is 58 workers to 55 in favor of ThorZaiN, along with mules as well. Means that his three-base economy is going to be flourishing far quicker here than MaNa's will be. So, despite MaNa taking a pretty good victory in that initial engagement, there still is the option here for ThorZaiN to end up macroing very, very strongly with his Ghost Academy going down in Vikings.
Yeah, I see. The Vikings are already being made. There's a few out already. I thought that this was looking better for MaNa than it did. Maybe, and I think now the game might have changed a bit. I mean, ThorZaiN is truly a macro machine.
Yeah, I think you were bouncing between machine and magician there, but a magician is also applicable. MaNa now killing off a Marine, actually spotting a pylon, but there's pylons everywhere. So MaNa's got pretty good vision on the map, actually, to deny things like drops from swinging around the full side of the map. But still, I don't know how well that's going to work out once ThorZaiN's macro kicks in once again.
Yeah, I think MaNa always plays like this. I remember when High Templars had the upgrade. I don't remember the name of it though.
Amulet.
Yeah, and MaNa would have pylons everywhere. Yeah. And it was just warping in High Templars. Wherever the turn would go, he had a High Templar ready to storm.
Many a good day's been casting Tal'Darim Altar with Kaidarian Amulet. Watching San play and just storm dropping every base was... fun times.
Yeah, they should bring that back, right?
Oh yeah, that'd be fun. I'm playing Zerg predominantly at the moment, so I'd rather they don't. I'll be honest. All right. So, gearing up now to go for a bit of an assault. This army is still very strong, but it is completely revealed here to MaNa, so he knows exactly where it is.
But why is MaNa moving out?
I mean, he wants to cut reinforcements.
Yeah, that's true.
And looks like he's going to stage an assault over to the third base here, do a little bit of damage.
Oh, ThorZaiN is really not controlling his reinforcements at the moment. There's even a few Zealots warp in on his third base.
Yep.
5 Zealots. They've cancelled Rex, I think. And they're getting a lot of SCVs.
They have. They've already got around 10 or so. And now with that, that's going to really cut into ThorZaiN's economy. Unit counting station, 55 workers to 62 in favor of MaNa.
What are you doing, MaNa? Okay.
Ooh. Have to be very, very careful. There's still ghosts there. They do not have their personal cloaking, though, so they can't actually save themselves from those Zealots charging on in. Not only that, but the High Templars still have a lot of energy. Great kills on some of those Vikings, whittling down a lot of their health as well.
Look at MaNa's money, and he's just warping in Zealots.
Yeah. And we'll see if that's actually going to work out for him. That's still a lot of firepower against only Zealots.
He's waiting for his 3-3 upgrades to be done.
Yeah. Just buying the time there. If he can, then that's going to be great, but...
I think ThorZaiN just needs to constantly put pressure on him. Maybe even do some drops in the main base. Like, ThorZaiN is just... Right now, he's just walking around giving MaNa the sufficient time to like, get up all the correct units. And while ThorZaiN, at the same time, is moving around with his whole army looking for proxy pylons.
Yeah, it's... That, in the end, is actually buying him so much time. Those 5 Zealots that he's sent down to that third base to kill off some SCVs have not only bought him the time to, well, killed off the SCVs in general, but they bought him the time because now his opponent's army is just scattered around doing nothing. and it's not going to find the proxy pylons, whilst MaNa has all the time in the world to have got that 3-3 up. He's moving around with a bit of a smaller army, but still.
Yeah, this could definitely do some damage. If MaNa controls this army correctly, which it looks like he's doing, even sending in some zealots to the second base. Oh, and oh, okay. So there's some zealots coming from behind. They're not going to do too much damage.
Yeah, they're trying to, and he's going to try and push in once again here, but he loses a lot of zealots for his troubles there. Meanwhile, the zealots and the natural killing off a lot of workers. He's killed off 34 workers thus far, getting Blink more Colossus on the way as well. But ThorZaiN's army is looking very, very strong. 125 supplied to against 100, but he's getting himself a lot of time here. So ThorZaiN, it's going to be do or die for him very soon. He has to kill his opponents with this army alone, or he's not going to kill him at all.
Yeah. I think that this is not the army that ThorZaiN really wants to have against MaNa's current army.
Yeah.
There's a lot of zealots, so I think some Hellbats would be nice. He probably also wants a lot more ghosts than what he has.
Yeah, it looks like he's actually going to push on forwards here. A good storm hits a lot of that, as well as feedbacks, killing off at least one of the medevacs. More zealots do charge on in. Does he have enough zealots to actually tank this, though? I don't think he does.
No, he doesn't.
So that bio can now push on forwards here. He has to get the army out of the way so quickly. Look how quickly those Archons melt. The bio trying to spread itself as best it can do. If it can hunt down those two Colossi, he could be in a really, really good spot, but he doesn't have the money to recuperate. So again, this is all ThorZaiN's going to have for a long time against the rising Colossus count and army count of MaNa once again.
And there's a lot of High Templars with the storms.
Yeah.
I see 5 so far, and also 2 Colossus and more zealots. This should be enough to stop ThorZaiN's push.
And does he have actually EMPs here as well? He has maybe 1 or 2 in that army, but really not that much else.
And this is a very difficult spot to fight for ThorZaiN.
Yeah.
He's fighting uphill in a small path. I mean, there's not much that he can do, really.
And the Vikings have been left back here from ThorZaiN as well. He's going to try and bring them into the fray, but at the same time, so much damage already being done. He's keeping the High Templars back as well. He knows that if he just saves those, and he thinks that he can kill off his opponent's army with the rest of this, then more power to him, because he's actually doing some harassment down to the third as well with some zealots. Forces the lift off. GG, well played. MaNa takes game number 2 and keeps his hopes alive from advancing first in this group.
Yeah, that was really well played by MaNa. He did everything correctly. Like every time he walked outside his base, like a small army, he just sends a few zealots around, does a lot of damage, and he retains his higher tech army or his high tech units. Then gathers all his new zealots and so on. Like he's just constantly moving from his watchtower to ThorZaiN's base. There's nothing that ThorZaiN can really do because he has to position out his army to defend. And but on Whirlwind, it's so hard to defend against Colossus and so on, unless you have a lot of Vikings and you really want to fight on an open field. And MaNa was doing, like, he was not letting ThorZaiN take the fight that he wanted. I think there was one fight where MaNa kind of screwed up.
Yeah.
But he got the correct units after that, and he started playing like MaNa knows how to play.
It was really impressive. It was pretty darn impressive. So now moving on to game number 3. Newkirk will be our map, which, again, could technically favor ThorZaiN if he's willing to go for a bit more of a drop-orientated build. There's a lot of dead space that makes it hard to actually hunt down those medevacs eventually. So ThorZaiN just needs to play a stable game from game number 1, I feel.
Yeah, I don't really see why ThorZaiN changed his playstyle, to be honest. Maybe he thought that MaNa would change his style and maybe go for some all-ins or something.
Yeah.
But I think that the Hellbat strategy that ThorZaiN did in game 1 should be able to stop that. Like, he gets Widow Mine, a lot of Marines, a bunker. So I think with that army composition should be enough to defend any all-in. And I mean, the Hellbats, they're incredible.
They're pretty good.
Yeah.
They're a pretty good unit. All right, so we'll jump on to game number 3 here in just a second to determine which of these two players is going to advance on to Premier. Both of them were in Premier previously, as Mr. ThorZaiN was knocked out in the round of 16 by Damaga, and then MaNa, unfortunately, fell short in the round of 32, I believe. So MaNa really kind of wants to get back up there. He wants to gather momentum once again in Premier. I think he feels that going out in the round of 32 is a big, big letdown for a player of his caliber.
Yeah, I think most people would expect MaNa to be at least a top 8 finisher at European tournaments.
Yeah.
Even though that there are some Koreans, like 4GG, MVP, and so on, there's MaNa, if he has a good day, he can beat those players. And as we all know, MaNa won ESVC last year, where he beat 4GG 2-0 in the final. So he's definitely capable of having top European finishes.
And to your point about it being, maybe against Koreans that he was playing against, well, it was MMA who actually knocked him out in the very last game in the round of 32, 0-2, where those games were a train wreck. MMA just completely steamrolled MaNa. So despite it being arguably one of MaNa's better matchups, it didn't really work out for him there. Will it work out for him here in game number 3? As we now jump into Newkirk Precinct here to find out which player shall advance on to Premier. Will it be ThorZaiN? Will it be MaNa? Let's jump in. As we have spawning down to the bottom right as our red Terran. He goes by the name of EG ThorZaiN. And spawning down to the bottom left as our blue Protoss. He goes by the name of Mouse MaNa.
Yep. What do you expect from this match? Do you think there will be like? Do you think there are any strategies that would only work on this map?
Well, I've seen once or twice Protoss players try and do that crazy kind of blink one base all in thing, because you can actually get into the main and natural quite quickly from this ledge. But it's a similar distance as it would be by ground, by walking for a player like ThorZaiN. So look at this ThorZaiN placing his barracks in an interesting location.
Maybe, again, I think he's just scouting for proxy Rexes, and he's proxy gates, I mean, and he wants to be as efficient as possible. So he just instantly places Rex.
If he goes for a refinery here as well, though, it could be very, very good for a very quick Reaper.
Yeah, that's true. But it still has to go to the natural, right?
Yeah, it does. So,
Oh, and look what MaNa's also scouting for proxy Rexes. This is interesting.
They both know each other very well, I think. And they both know each other's play styles and each other's mannerisms. So this is really... I can't believe I just did that. This is really very kind of, there's mind games going on between these two players. They're friends, and we'll see if either one can be vanquished.
So far, it looks very similar to last game. MaNa did the pylon gateway again, then a really fast nexus, so his gases and his tech will be later, or will be delayed, I mean. And ThorZaiN, same thing, just making a marine. No gases yet, and he's also making a command center. Is he going to cut the probe?
No.
Yep.
Yeah, he did. Nice control there. Nexus is on the way, as you said, as well as that command center. And, with that, the economical focus, I don't mind that too much. I'm liking that. Seeing longer players from these two players is pretty darn cool. Cybernetics Core's on the way as well for MaNa. So I'm still curious to see what he's going to go for. He has a lot of options. Could open Stargate again. It's a good map for it, but because it's a good map for it, I'd be kind of surprised if he did. So we'll see.
Yeah, and ThorZaiN has already placed his second Rax. So it's almost the complete same game as last game.
Yeah.
Like a very similar openings. And I think that ThorZaiN is kind of expecting maybe some kind of cheese or Stargate. Because me personally, I don't know how to stop the Hellbat drops as a Protoss. Like you probably should go some kind of air and kill the medevacs.
Whoa. And I mean, sorry to interrupt you, but the Twilight Council's already going down.
Yeah, that's worth interrupting.
Yeah, that's well, I mean, he can go Dark Shrine from this, but I won't be surprised if he did go for Blink. But I think it's going to be Dark Shrine.
Yeah, but he doesn't have any probes out on the map. Like I don't think you want to make the Dark Shrine inside this base. Because he knows that last game ThorZaiN made a Reaper, and the Reaper got to see everything. This time, if he actually makes a Dark Shrine, then he's going to have less minerals or gas for sentries or whatever stalkers to stop the Reaper. And you can see that ThorZaiN is already making a Reaper. Now let's see, what is MaNa gonna do?
I think it will be. He's waiting for this pylon to... Oh, no.
Okay, so it's a blink.
Oh, what is he doing? All right, okay. So blink on the way. Not too bad for denying drop aggression whatsoever. Pretty darn awesome. MaNa now going to try and scout into his opponent's base, but he's going to see the lack of a lack of a factory even if he gets a good scout off, which is then going to lead him to think that, well, the blink's not going to be as useful as it would have been initially.
Yeah, I really doubt that MaNa will commit to this. He's gonna get the blink, maybe make a few stalkers, try and do some aggression, but he shouldn't overcommit at all, because I think ThorZaiN has the correct army to stop it. He can also make a bunker at the high ground. He's getting a third Rex as well, getting some upgrades, and he's also scouting with the Reaper. So he should know that something is coming if he actually sends it. Like he's gonna see 2 stalkers and a zealot, no sentries. But wait, okay, so he doesn't want to watch. He doesn't want to see what the MaNa's doing, apparently.
Yeah, I mean it would be very very difficult to really kind of scoot on in there, but still. It gives it a little bit of a go. And with that now, just scouts up third, has a little bit of a look around there. He's preparing himself missile turrets. It's as if ThorZaiN really doesn't have a clue as to what his opponent is up to.
Oh, now he's going to see everything.
Yeah, well, now he will. Yeah, have a clue what's going on. That's a lot of gateways. So, well, 6.
Yeah. I think that even if he didn't see the gateways, just by looking at the units that was at the MaNa's second base, it should be enough information for ThorZaiN to see that something's about to happen.
I really think he's going to just go for this 6-gate blink for huge aggression. Because he doesn't have a 4th gas. He's not teching up. He has no other tech other than this. He's not getting any forges. So this is just big aggression from him. I don't know if this is going to work out. Bunkers are going down. ThorZaiN realizes.
Yeah, I mean, as I said, ThorZaiN, he has the perfect army to stop this.
Yeah.
He'll have a medevac out soon as well. I mean, MaNa's going to blink into the base, but there's not that many stalkers, and I mean, ThorZaiN's army is looking pretty big already.
This is quite funny, because, I mean, I was expecting eventually during this series MaNa to use a blink play similar to this, but I was expecting it on one base, and now with the army finished and the fact that Stim is done and has been for ages, it's really hard to make this strat work here for MaNa.
Yeah, I think he knows that he has to do some damage with it. I mean, he already warped in sentries at home. He's making probes, getting 2 forges. So this is just he's just trying to annoy ThorZaiN as much as possible.
Trying what he can. Bunkers do end up getting lowered once again here, just to try and allow this bio at least to have a bit more room there to move around. And the medevacs are now out, so if Stim didn't shut this down, medevacs certainly do. The medevacs really aren't going to give these stalkers any room to breathe here once that damage gets plowed out here from this bio. MaNa has to go home and he has to sit pretty. Literally go home. Yeah. All right, extra probes, pylons, landing everything down over at his side of the base. And the forges, again, are going to be quite late. So his upgrades, not really going to be as monumental as we're seeing here from ThorZaiN, who is going to have his +1 shields a little bit quicker as well.
Yeah, ThorZaiN is actually hitting the same timing as he did last game, but this time he has a bigger army and he's playing against a weaker army.
Yeah.
So this should be able to do a lot of damage. There's a few sentries, but I think the correct thing to do for ThorZaiN would be just to elevate his army up into MaNa's base. There are some stalkers though, however.
Whoop. Photon overcharge goes down, and as you said before, those sentries could seal him off at the front. So I think ThorZaiN realizing that probably will end up pulling back, if not just going for that big kind of drop. But the stalkers are positioned well.
Yeah, he sent his factory, but he hasn't actually sent it into MaNa's base. If he sends in the factory and he sees the stalkers, he should just load up everything and go in for the main base. These stalkers are not enough to take down all the medevacs.
And with that now, Mr. MaNa, he's just set across these 2 bases, and he's going to be constricted because behind this, ThorZaiN is gone for a 3rd command center. He's trying to bait out force fields. He's doing a really good job of it there. And now has to pull back once again. Whoa, but a little bit of the bio pokes up, killing off a sentry or 2. Picks everything up and pulls on back. Oh, a nice try there, though, from MaNa. Tries to blink down to kill off that medevac, but doesn't get it in the end. Pins up a lot of that bio against the force field, and then picks up once again. You're making it very hard for me to cast this game, you guys. These, it's just small moves here and there and absolutely everywhere. Wow.
Yeah. ThorZaiN is doing this perfectly, I think.
He really is. This is a fantastic, fantastic control play here from ThorZaiN. And look at that, all the Zealots don't even get the damage that they're done that they want to. There, he pushes on forwards.
And
GG. Wow, ThorZaiN, what a play that was. That was cool to watch.
Yeah. MaNa played like he was gonna do some kind of all-in, or at least a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
But ThorZaiN was already countering his build perfectly, and he also got a scout with the Reaper, so he could confirm that something fishy was going on.
Yeah.
And it was just too easy for ThorZaiN almost to hold that. I mean, MaNa tried to blink into the main base, but ThorZaiN had already pulled SCVs, and he had Stim up. So, I mean, he had no other option. Like, he had to go back, make sentries, and that doesn't work.
Yeah. If it was hard enough to make that blink play work as a Protoss against a Terran on one base, once your opponent has Stim and they're on two base, it's very hard to make work, trust me. All right, guys. So we are going to go to a short commercial break after now finding out that ThorZaiN advances back into Premier. Congratulations to him. And then when we're back, we're going to see who is the first player who is going to be out of Challenger. It's going to be between Bishu and Firecake. Don't go anywhere.